Peace be upon you. How are you all doing? Today, I will make batter at home without puff pastry butter or even pastry flour, and I will use regular butter instead. Here are all the ingredients. Many people do not have access to pastry flour, so today we will make it with all-purpose ingredients available in every home. Our filling today will be with mozzarella, feta cheese, and some other ingredients. We will also have a filling with chocolate. Just look at how flaky and layered it is inside. They turn out to be a masterpiece. I also stuffed it with feta cheese and mozzarella. Now let's see how to prepare it. First, I have 5 cups of sifted flour and 1 cup of regular flour available in every home. I also added a teaspoon of salt and a heaping tablespoon of powdered milk. The liquid ingredients I will use are 1 1/4 cups of water, 3 heaping tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of instant yeast, and I will also add a heaping teaspoon of baking powder and a tablespoon of oil. I will mix the ingredients together, and this will be the natural mixture that I will add to the recipe. I will stir the ingredients together, and by the way, if powdered milk is not available, you can replace it with half the amount of water and half the amount of milk. I really like to mix these together. So wait for a moment to add the dry and liquid ingredients. You can also use your hands to knead the dough. I kneaded it a bit and felt that the dough needed a little more water, so I gradually added a 1/4 cup of water. Of course, in addition to the 2 tablespoons. This 1/4 cup is added gradually because the type of flour varies from one type to another. In summary, it means 1 1/2 cups of water except for 2 tablespoons. I kneaded the dough well, as you can see. As soon as it came together, I knew it was ready. The last addition I make is a tablespoon of oil, which I incorporate into the dough at the very end. Of course, you know I haven't added any fat at all. I'm relying on the puff pastry butter that I will use to layer the dough. The total kneading time is about 14 minutes. I then take it to a board, and if you are kneading by hand, you follow this technique of flattening the dough and gathering it until it becomes soft and smooth like this. I don't let it rise. I just take it and shape it like this. Then I cut it and roll it into balls of equal size as much as possible. I made 10 balls here, and I will let them rest for 10 minutes so that I can roll them out. This is about 1/2 cup of butter. This is just regular butter, not puff pastry butter or anything. But it should be at room temperature. Now that the dough has rested, I roll it out like this. But don't make it larger than the size you see in front of you so that you can manage it well. Of course, I roll it out like this. And I have another one ready next to me that I roll out with butter like this. And I take the other part and roll it out like this as well. And you need to flip it to the other side, making sure it is cooked the same as the layer on top. Here is another layer of butter with a layer of dough prepared as well. Of course, don't roll out all the layers because I don't want the dough to rise at all. Just do it, bowl by bowl. As you can see here, I have finished the entire amount, and you need to sprinkle some flour and flip it to the other side so that it is even with the side that is underneath. You need to follow this technique. You must remove the air from the dough like this. I don't want you to keep going back and forth on the dough at all. Sprinkle flour and smooth out all the edges from the top, and the same on the other side. Here, I finished the entire amount and just put it in the freezer to rest for about 1/4 to half an hour, depending on your cooling strength. Now, I have taken it out of the freezer. I just want the butter to hold a bit. As you can see, I am rolling it from the inside out. I don't keep going back and forth on the dough at all. This is, of course, a very important step. You need to flip it to the other side and smooth out the edges so that the butter doesn't leak out. Sprinkle flour, and then I rolled it out like this, giving it a couple of drops of water to stick this edge to that edge like this. I also give it a little bit of water and bring this end to this end, and then it's ready to go into the freezer for about 1/4 to half an hour. Here, I took it out of the freezer. The idea is that the butter should stay cold, so it doesn't melt while I'm rolling it out like this. Of course, it was large in size, so I divided it in half. I will do it this way. I will put this part in the freezer and work with the other part. This means that once I finish the filling, the other part will be a bit firm in the freezer. Never leave it next to you so that the dough doesn't rise and the butter doesn't melt. You need to put the second part in the freezer. This is the first part. And now I will work on rolling it out like this. And of course, you flip it to the other side. Sprinkle some flour so that the dough doesn't stick to you. This is the filling I will use, Feta cheese. And also Mortadella. And I will use Mozzarella cheese in the filling as well. You can also use any type of cheese that you like or prefer. Oh, cheese like Mozzarella cheese or the cheese you love from the fridge. I will also add the Mortadella filling. Like this. I will close the roll like this. As you can see, and I will take a knife and cut it up to here. This means I am using the dough with me in 2 stages. I want to fill it with feta cheese and mozzarella cheese only. By the way, I just kneaded the mozzarella cheese with my hands and rolled it up to make it easier to work with. And so, I had another roll ready. This is the plain filling without any additions. I arrange them on a baking tray without any greasing. I cover them for about 30 minutes to a quarter of an hour. Of course, if you notice, we haven't fermented the dough at all. We just let it rest for 10 minutes. And now we will brush it with egg yolk. And the black seed and sesame, and of course it has risen with me at this time. I have preheated the oven to the highest temperature, reaching 200 degrees. This is the first batch I put in the oven, and this is the dough that I put in the freezer. I rolled it out in the same way and filled it with milk chocolate like this. The most important thing is, of course, that the dough should be in the freezer until you finish the filling. Look at how the layering turned out. It's really impressive. And the dough is perfectly strong. I finished the entire amount here. I also arrange it in the same way on a baking tray that is not greased or anything. Then I cover it to let it rest for about 30 minutes to an hour and a quarter in a bag like this, and at that time it had settled with me. This is the yolk of an egg with 2 tablespoons of milk and a pinch of vanilla, and now the top looks like this. Of course, by this time we should have placed the first tray that I worked on in the oven. Of course, the oven should be set to a temperature of 200 degrees. As soon as it gets a base from underneath, I turn on the broiler from above and gently rotate it in circular motions until it takes on the beautiful color you see in front of you. As soon as it comes out of the oven, I spray it with a couple of threads of water and cover it with a clean kitchen towel for 5 minutes, making it soft and flaky. Look at the filling inside. Honestly, it's amazing. You will really love this recipe. The chocolate filling was also ready with me, and I did the same thing. I added a couple of drops of water and covered it, and it turned out beautifully. By the way, we also like to brush it with butter right when it comes out. It tastes really delicious. You can enjoy it however you like. Now this is an addition from my side. I melted some milk chocolate in a water bath with a spoonful of oil, and then I dip it in the chocolate. This step is optional, but honestly, the kids will love it, especially if you have children. I also made some dark chocolate stripes on top. Look at this beauty. The taste is truly amazing. I hope you liked today's recipe. Try it out and let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, I will respond. God willing, please share and like the video so everyone can benefit. And God willing, we will make another recipe together soon, so stay tuned.